Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. Mr. Dan Danielson to my left. I am Roddy Reece. We're here to talk about all things professional wrestling. You're wearing a very fitting shirt, Dan, because we're kicking it off with all things CM Punk and John Cena related that happened this week.
We got double Punk this week.
We got double Punk and Cena this week. What a world. What a world we live in.
Can I be that guy?
That's how I hide my phone for my notes,
Wait,
Dan.
I'm giving you that. There we go. So instead of like all the people in the crowd
he's going to be double.
wearing the John Cena shirts but singing CM Punk's music, I'm going to wear the CM Punk shirt and a John Cena hat. Why not? Let's just double it down.
So, kicking off Monday Night Raw this week, we had John Cena come out.
We did.
Talking about the truth. And
the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't remember exactly how we got to that segue, but Cena was essentially saying he's taken all challenges so far and he's beaten them.
Well, he was saying that, you know, the crowd, all you did was you wanted the truth and you got it. But you're sending me joke characters. I've beaten Truth. I've beaten Randy. I've beaten Cody. Send me a challenger. Send me someone that's worth my time.
And then CM Punk's music hits, which I was not expecting.
Weren't you?
No.
Oh, this was happening.
No. Oh, I knew it was happening at some point, but I didn't think yet.
I thought we'd missed the boat. I thought we said this at the start.
You wanted it to be
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, and that was it.
And then I was like, well, forget it. Never do it again.
But very interesting turn of events because Punk comes out and just this promo, I had not realized how many little throwbacks Punk snuck in here until someone put up a video on social media that stitched every single reference back to one of their previous promo battles. Absolutely amazing.
Well, you referenced the pipe bomb and everything in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Everything.
Which, if you remember watching the pipe bomb when it originally occurred, it was after John Cena was put through a table. So John's in the ring, smashed through a table when CM Punk comes out, sits down and cuts the pipe bomb promo. So like the history between these two is so good.
Yeah, amazing. And Punk says, if you're any man that you are, any more Boston Red Sox than New York Yankees, another throwback, you'll put that title on the line tonight. And Cena amps up and he's like, you want it? Let's go. But not tonight. He says, if you want this title, you're going to follow me to Saudi Arabia, Night of Champions.
Now that line got me because
instantly
I was like, there's no way Punk's doing Saudi. Like we've even said this on all of our other podcasts and videos beforehand where we're saying that, you know, next year's Royal Rumble we know is in Saudi Arabia. So Punk's not winning the Rumble because Punk's not going to go there. That's fine. And now
he's going this. And just every single opportunity that John has, he's throwing little verbal jabs at Punk because of that fact.
And if you don't understand the reason behind Punk not being aligned with Saudi, obviously the Saudi government and people have a bit of a history that some of the wrestlers have been against for a fair while with, you know, imprisoning media people and what they do as a country. And I believe it was... which pay-per-view was it? It was 2019. And it was a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, and Miz was posting about it. And this was when CM Punk tweeted, "Go over there and suck the blood money covered you-know-whatsies," to Miz, essentially saying, if you're willing to go compromise all of your morals and everything, go over there and take the money for it. Good luck.
Yeah.
Putting a very definitive stance of CM Punk against the Saudi shows. Now he's going to go to Saudi. And if you also follow John Cena's Instagram, so John Cena on Twitter follows like 500,000 people. Like he follows everybody. He puts motivational tweets and stuff out there, and it's like that's a very fun Twitter that he has. John's Instagram is always just pictures, no captions, no wording,
open for interpretation.
100%. The picture that he put up, I think it was on Tuesday,
I haven't seen this.
Was Samoa Joe and The Miz at that pay-per-view where CM Punk had tweeted about The Miz and the blood money covered you-know-whatsies. No context to it, just that picture. So, like, the storytelling. But that's the whole point of Cena's Instagram, right?
Yeah.
If you know, you know what he's talking about. Yeah, man. This opening promo, the fact that they're now going to put this on Night of Champions, I did not at once think that. Especially, it's only 2.5 weeks away, so it's only a couple of shows. Yeah, we've got a short build for it. I thought the Punk and Cena thing was going to go for a while and was going to be one of the later ones because I think of John Cena's feuds that he's had throughout the latter part of his career. You know, you're not getting a Cena and Batista match. You're not really getting Cena and Triple H. You're not getting Cena Big Show, Cena Edge, all those sort of ones that they're off the table. Of the ones that were his biggest throughout his career, I think Orton was a huge one, and they've done that.
Yeah. Now it's Punk.
I think it's Punk. Punk is the next biggest modern rivalry for him, and I was surprised that they're going to try and jam it through in a couple of weeks at Night of Champions. But does that mean that Cena now wants to go through these big people so he can now work with a couple of up-and-comers? He can go, I say up-and-comers, Gunther and Carmelo and LA Knight or
new
whatever.
Opponents for him.
Yeah, instead on his way out. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's the big question. I was quickly going to shift towards what happened on SmackDown as well to cover this John Cena CM Punk feud heating up to Night of Champions. And John Cena kicked off the show again for SmackDown.
So he's now down to 17 appearances.
He's now down to 17, which is very unfortunate. He ended up getting interrupted by Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and LA Knight.
Yeah.
Which was a very... I kind of forgot that Randy was going to have a match on SmackDown. So I was like, oh, shit, Randy's back. Whoa, let's go. But John's ability to carry 3 feuds right now with Punk, with Truth, and then now it kind of looks like this Cody, Randy stuff might be intertwined slightly. They've both got King of the Wing qualifiers.
Oh, I want a chicken burger.
A chicken burger. King of the Ring qualifiers. So we'll touch on that a little bit. They both qualified. Spoiler alert.
Oh, my God.
What a surprise.
If you're coming to our podcast for spoilers, you could do better.
Yeah, you need to go somewhere else.
Go watch other YouTube channels.
But after this segment, John Cena gets attacked by R-Truth. He rants to Nick Aldis backstage, and then later in the night has a little backstage segment with Jimmy Uso. Have you seen R-Truth? No. Well, have you seen Ron Killings? Man, I ain't seen anyone.
Yeah.
Well, you tell him. I'm going out to the ring, and he needs to come out and confront me. So we get out there. Calls out R-Truth straight away, and then Punk's music hit, which I was not expecting. And it just absolutely blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, here we go again. And one line that I made sure I note down, which was absolutely amazing. CM Punk to John Cena. You're the goat that I will spit roast and sacrifice to the gods of wrestling. I just sat there in my chair. I was just like, oh, such a good call.
This was a very strong promo from Punk.
And it was such a quick promo as well.
Mm-hmm. The fact that when you had the end of the Raw promo between them where Cena said, follow me to Saudi, and Punk off mic had said, let's do it, I'm in. And Michael Cole had said, it looks like Punk said he's in. Let's see if, they make it official, which they did.
They did.
But you didn't have a Punk response to it yet, really. So this promo on SmackDown was his response to that match. The way that Cena had come out and already said that, he was the GOAT and he was, the 4 people on the wrestling Mount Rushmore of John Cena and John Cena and John Cena and John Cena. You could tell that was going to get Punk's, back up around this sort of thing. The fact that the way, and even Punk pointed it out, is that you sound like, he was calling, what did he say? He's dressed up like a toddler going out to his T-ball game.
Yes.
And he said that, take that off the record because I sound like a PG John Cena.
And you sound like a CM Punk from 10 years ago.
And the fact that they have switched roles in this feud.
Just, that and the 2 promos that we've had, it's just the sheer parallel and mirroring of their previous feuds.
Yeah, it's because they're so good at what they do.
They're now both in complete opposite roles to what they have been previously.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem out of place at all.
No, it doesn't. And it works.
Yeah.
And, Punk to say that, you're a GOAT, but I'm also a GOAT. And, Harley Race and Eddie Guerrero, Bret Hart, all those people should be on the Mount Rushmore in front of you. Not Bret Hart because we don't like him anyway. But then the fact that he said that, I will follow you to the depths of hell to take that title off of you. A great line.
That puts a stamp on his position still.
But it also says, I'm going to go to hell, which is Saudi Arabia for me, and I will do that because I have to get this title from me, and I have to save wrestling, and I'm doing it for the people. And the fact that throughout their whole career. You look back at Money in the Bank 2011, CM Punk was going to win the title and take it away and leave.
And that's what John's trying to do now. He's trying to be CM Punk again.
Yep. And the roles are reversed, and Punk's the one that has to save it for the people, which is what John Cena was doing back then. John Cena was doing it for us. And now it's Punk. And this is just so good. And I'm very glad. It's magic already. It is. And I'm very glad that they've got, like I said, it's a short run into Night of Champions. But if you give them 4 promos, you give them SmackDown next week, then you give them a go-home show at least. Punk, you assume, probably cut something on John on Raw, even if John's not there. Like, that's probably enough time to cook, for these two at least, to cook a very strong story going into Night of Champions. And like I even said to you before, Reece, when we were watching the promos before, I'm not overly fussed about the match. The match will be fine.
It's the promos we care about.
It's the build. It's the feud that I want to see. It's not the match. The match it'll be all good, and then there'll be teasers of go to sleeps. There'll be teasers of the FU and attitude adjustments. There'll be, reversals in and out, and then eventually you'll hit him with a title belt and a low blow, and then John Cena will win.
That's not what you said off screen.
I know, I kind of really want Punk to win, but that's a whole different kettle of fish we'll talk about later.
All right, I did touch on King of the Ring qualifiers, so let's talk on all the King and Queen of the Ring qualifiers this week. So I've got my handy little screenshot so we can run through
handy dandy notebook.
Every single qualifying match. So Monday Night Raw, Dom Mysterio, Bron Breakker, Penta, and Sami Zayn.
So this was an obvious pick for me to start with. It was always Sami Zayn.
I kind of had an inkling it might be Bron Breakker.
No.
But that was only because of us cooking up that theory of him winning Money in the Bank weeks and weeks ago.
Oh, to protect Seth.
Yes, that's it. So Sami Zayn went through and qualified. We had Randy Orton, LA Knight, Aleister Black, and Carmelo Hayes.
Before you move to that, we're going to talk about that 4-way match.
Oh, are we going to do that for every fucking match? Because there's like 7 to talk about.
It's like 4 to talk about. But anyway, the fact that LA Knight, brand split LOL, decided to show up on Raw, take out Bron Breakker and cost him.
Yeah.
Which allowed
immediate foreshadowing for them costing him on SmackDown, which happened.
But also that they cost him Money in the Bank too.
Yes, which is why he came out, and then they've now cost him again.
2 wrongs don't make a right, boys. Just learn.
Come on,
be smarter.
What are you doing?
Come on.
What are you doing?
So then the next.
Yep. So
SmackDown. Yep.
LA Knight, Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes, which I thought this was actually a really good match.
It really was a good match.
The start kind of felt a little off.
Had they all tried to hit finishes and stuff?
No, it was more so like I think it was Aleister and Carmelo were fighting, and then Randy and LA were just standing there kind of awkwardly watching.
Yeah. And then
like not doing anything, and I was like, what are they doing?
And then there was a point where like Aleister went for a couple of different black masses and the people ducked out of the way. And
that part was...
I was like, that was a
really
cool
loved
spot.
That. Yeah, later in that point of the match, LA Knight would get taken out by Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. Randy Orton would capitalize with a sick...
This was a very good finish.
RKO. Melo was going for a frog splash on Aleister.
Yes.
And hit him with the RKO, like, as he's hitting the frog splash.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love to see it.
And then he pins Black, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Randy Orton picks up the victory there.
Which, again, probably makes sense.
Yes. Over to the other men's qualifying match, which was Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Andrade, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
There's only one person winning this.
You see that lineup and you know immediately who's winning. And guess who won? It was Cody Rhodes. Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah. And so then the last one, which they've now announced, because there was a mystery spot that we were like, is it going to be Joe Hendry? Is it going to be Mr. Iguana?
Mr. Iguana.
Is it going to be...
anybody. Someone.
Nikki Bella. Who knows? No, it's Jey Uso.
After losing the title, which we'll talk about shortly.
Wasn't carrying Cross.
Yeah, that would have been such a much better option in the final of King of the Ring. Sammy versus Karrion Kross, who's currently corrupting him.
Yeah, but it's going to be Sammy versus Jey.
Would have been amazing. Or Sammy versus Cody. You never know.
I don't know. You never know.
Are they really going to have 2 Raw competitors in the final?
Or if they're going to be for the title shot at SummerSlam against Gunther, then yes.
I don't reckon. I think the whole goal is to have one person from each brand in that final. So I think it's going to be Sammy Cody.
I think Sammy Jey. I stand by it.
We'll come back to this in
clip
a couple weeks.
Clip it, chat. Clip it.
In a couple weeks. Let's talk about the women's one now with Roxanne Perez facing off against Liv Morgan, Kairi Sane, and Rhea Ripley. And Roxanne Perez rightfully going through
Well, you say rightfully.
Well, she was up against a stacked competition.
Yes.
But I want to call out the Rhea Ripley haters lately. She's now lost Money in the Bank and lost the Queen of the Ring qualifier. I don't hear any calls about her getting overbooked now, do I?
Well, do you know who's getting underbooked? Io Sky, because you know how many title defenses she's had since WrestleMania?
Zero?
What are they doing with that title?
I don't know.
What's Io
I feel
doing?
like this happens every fucking time she gets the title. It happened when she was the WWE Women's Champion after cashing in.
Yeah, she had good matches with Bayley and then nothing.
Yeah, and then what? What are you doing?
But like,
It's just like they don't know how to book Io in feuds.
in feuds, I don't know if they do. Is she injured? Because she had the matches with Julia and Roxy after Mania.
Yeah.
When they came up in their tag matches and stuff. And I think she had a really good match with one or two of them down in NXT as well. She went down to NXT
she did.
to wrestle them.
Tagged with Jordan Grace.
Yeah. But they're nothing. I don't get it. And like, if you're trying to build, you put Money in the Bank on Naomi. Naomi's not cashing in on Io. I mean, tease it for us.
And
like
after SmackDown, it's crystal clear she's coming for that WWE Women's title.
Correct. So then what are you doing with Io? So then that means that the winner of this tournament has to verse Io, we assume. Is it Roxy? Are you doing the Roxy versus Io match? Who from the other side is in there?
Well, the other side for Raw is Asuka making a return to Monday Night Raw this week. Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, and Ivy Nile. So I looked at that and it's like it's 90% going to be Stephanie Vaquer. Maybe they'll give it to returning Asuka.
No, they won't give it to Asuka. Asuka and Kyrie have to go back to the community.
They don't have to.
They do.
They why?
Because there's nothing else in the women's tag division.
Yeah, but they haven't mentioned it whatsoever since Kyrie's been back. There's been nothing.
Because I don't know.
I was going to say there's been nothing with Io Sky, but there was a very slight backstage interaction.
But every time they've been backstage, they've been together.
Yeah,
they haven't done anything. But
I think Damage Control is dead, dude.
Maybe. Yeah, Damage. But then they go back to the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, but they've not mentioned anything.
Not yet, because Asuka's not on TV.
And
now, stop overbooking this.
You're fucking overbooking.
And then
this.
look, Raquel is going to get taken out of this match by Rhea.
Yeah, obviously,
because Rhea took.
Oh, it's going to be Nikki and Rhea at Evolution 2.
Oh,
I wasn't even thinking about that. But now I am.
No.
Shit.
That's not the Rhea match you do at Evolution. Surely, no. But what else do you do, though?
Everything lines up now. It all makes sense.
Oh, could you imagine Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley as the women's tag team champions?
Oh, I didn't even think about them winning. Oh, no.
What are we doing to ourselves?
This podcast has declined steeply.
We've just gone off the rails. But
let's finish on Queen of the Ring.
But the storyline of Rhea losing the match in her qualifier was that Raquel took her out.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie took
And it just makes sense for Rhea to now take Raquel out of that match. It was never going to be Ivy Nile.
It won't be Ivy. I don't think it's a returning Asuka because I honestly think that
I'm going to make you eat your fucking words if it's Asuka.
Sure, 100% do it. But she's losing next week.
Well, yeah, Stephanie's the heavy favorite.
Stephanie is the only one of those four.
I could see Stephanie and either Stephanie or Roxanne facing Io. Not winning, but facing Io at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I could probably see Stephanie do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's face. Because your winners of the SmackDown ones,
we had Jade Cargill, Michin, Piper Niven, and Nia Jax. And Jade Cargill, huge display of strength.
Oh, on Piper?
Yeah. Ridiculous, hitting the Jaded on Piper Niven.
I actually really like Piper Niven. Her character work as part of the Secret Herverse and the way that her and Nia in this match decided, you know what, we're the two big ones, we're just going to take the other ones out, right?
And they did that. They just
really
demolished them.
Absolutely.
And then they turned against
And then Piper just speared Nia through the commentators area. That one bit of the ring announcers thing that is just clearly not connected to every other part of the barricade. It's like this one just clips in with two little plastic clips every time because it's always that one that someone gets speared through.
Yeah. And then the other qualifying match that we had, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, and Candice LeRae. Chelsea Green,
I forgot Candice was even in this match.
Well, it's because she's similar to Ivy Nile. She was definitely not going to be winning this match.
Yeah, but she's also similar to Ivy Nile in that she's a good enough talent to make someone else
look good
in a match. Yeah. She's not going to screw it up.
But Chelsea Green, not in attendance in Phoenix for Friday Night SmackDown. Alba Fire ended up replacing her and costing her the victory because she was locked in the figure 8.
This was
about
a
to
very
tap.
good finish.
Such a good finish. And then Alexa Bliss comes in because Charlotte and Alexa have a little bit of a thing going on at the moment. I loved having Alexa interrupt Charlotte Flair's entrance.
Yes, great.
Great.
Well, and the fact
that gave me Roman and LA vibes.
But that was also because Charlotte interrupted Alexa's promo. So before the match,
backstage interview.
Alexa was talking, and then Charlotte came in and said, "If you're talking about the Queen, there's only one Queen here."
Yeah.
And so she walked out for her entrance, and then Alexa's kind of gone, "Screw you, then."
Yeah. As Charlotte Flair has Alba Fire locked in the figure 8, Alexa Bliss comes in, Sister Abigail to Candice LeRae. 1, 2, 3.
And then Alba Fire taps out.
Yeah.
Perfectly done.
Perfect timing. And then having them face off, I can see potentially, if it's Alexa Bliss versus Stephanie McCurr in the semi-final, I could potentially see Charlotte costing Alexa with the story that they've got going on at the moment. So see what happens on that front.
And then you think Roxy somehow gets a win over Jade.
Yeah, that's the bigger question.
How does Jade lose?
Yeah.
Or
does she?
We have protected Jade so much throughout her
She's
career
copped
so
some
far.
pinfall losses.
She has, but in general, it's been because of something else. It's not a one-on-one.
She lost clean to Naomi at WrestleMania. Wait, did she?
No, she beat Naomi. Yeah. Naomi lost.
I'm so high on Naomi right now. I'm like, yeah, she won.
Jade won. Jade won that at Mania. But yeah, I think that how do you protect Jade in this? And if it's against Roxy, you've got you maybe have the premise of Judgment Day getting involved and Liv in that.
Well, yeah,
helping her, but then you still
like what Roxanne did to Liv previously, trying to help her win.
Yes,
ended up costing her.
Yes,
you can now reverse that role and have Liv try and help,
but actually help her win, and then prove that Liv can say, "Well, look, I can do this better than you. How about you listen to me?" And then you build more of that Judgment Day tension because that's what we love booking constantly is tension in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, it feels like it's
give them back their PlayStation, by the way. Yeah, just because there's no Carlito doesn't mean Dom can't play.
No PlayStation.
2K25.
But yeah, let's talk about potential winners for this. So we got Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton.
Sammy.
And then we've got Cody Rhodes versus likely to be Jey Uso.
I think the pitch for this is that the SummerSlam match is the one for Gunther. So I think it's Sammy or I think it's Jey. But I think it's Sammy to have the match with Gunther.
Yeah.
The better final to me is the emotion of Sammy and Jey. You're going to want Jey over in Saudi. You're going to want him yeeting. He wants to fight back because you want to give him that chance against Gunther. Although we're all kind of done with Jey Gunther. He's the underdog story now again to get back and get his title back. Sammy Cody.
I'm not on board with that. I'm straight up. I'm not on board with Jey going through the final and potentially winning.
Well, he's only got to win the 4-way. He's only got to win the 4-way, and then he's got to beat. Because then you think
he's got to beat Cody.
Yeah. Who are Jay's two, apart from his brother, who are his two best friends in wrestling right now?
Cody and Sammy.
Jay's got to beat them both. Got to put your friendships aside for that world title, man.
No, I've
got to show.
I'm on board with the fact that I'm on board with the Sammy story.
I know how
like
much
if you've watched this podcast previously, you know where my stance has usually been with Sammy in the past. But I'm on board with this Sammy story. Strictly so, he can win King of the Ring.
Yep.
Beat Gunther at SummerSlam.
I agree with this story.
And then, as we discussed earlier this week, get immediately cashed in on by Seth Rollins.
100%. The fact that you tell the story that it's in Saudi, Sammy is the constant underdog. He's the only person one of the only few people to have ever pinned Gunther. He pinned Gunther for a title at WrestleMania. You build that whole story up that Gunther's, we'll talk about this later in the podcast, but I assume he's going to roll through somebody on Saturday night's main event and retain his title all the way up to SummerSlam. And then you get Sammy in that big match, and then you give Sammy that huge moment where he finally does it and he beats Gunther and he's finally a world champion, and then bang, he gets cashed in on.
Yeah. Amazing story. Let's talk about predictions for the women's.
This is much harder to pick.
I honestly think this is much harder to pick because we've now got Roxanne versus Jade and then Alexa versus likely Stephanie McCurr. So I think if we go for the one person from each brand theory, which for WWE booking, that probably makes the most sense.
Yes.
I feel like it's got to be Roxanne Alexa in the final.
And you think Alexa and Tiffy is the match?
Possibly. I don't know.
So
I don't know because like Liv, who would have been a good pick, is gone, and Rhea as well because they were both in the same match and they both didn't qualify.
yeah, and that was wild that they were in the first match.
Yeah.
I think the story, you can book exactly the same story that we just said for the women.
Yeah.
In that you have Jade get through. Jade finally gets her world title chance. She beats Tiffany and then bang, she gets cashed in by Naomi.
Yeah.
But I can't see them doing the same story.
The same story and then having 2 cash-ins on the SummerSlam card.
In essentially the same story. Yeah. So I can't see that happening. Can I see Alexa and Tiffy? Yeah.
I can see Tiffy winning.
Yeah, and I think Alexa's the kind of person that can take a loss at SummerSlam and just be fine, and then Tiffy continues.
And then maybe Naomi cashes in there. Yeah.
No, I think
the better story is Naomi cashing in on Jade. Either to stop her from getting the title or just as she's got the title. I feel like that's got to be the story to tell, and when that happens, that's the question.
Correct, and I don't think you do them at the same time. No. From the Raw side of things, like we said, Io hasn't defended the title since WrestleMania. So she's going to need to fight someone at Evolution, probably, and then she needs someone at SummerSlam. I don't know if it's Stephanie, because
that would be a killer.
It'd be a great match.
And I reckon maybe that's what they're going to try and go for. Just like...
Yeah, but babyface. I just don't... I can see that match at Evolution. I don't think I can see that match at SummerSlam. So I think you probably need to build a heel to face Io.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably Roxanne.
Yeah.
And the amount that they have given her the push. And like, a lot of people are
going to start turning on her real quick.
Yeah, but this was the same kind of thing that everyone had with Tiffy, right? It was when Tiffy first came up from NXT, everyone was behind her. When she had that Elimination Chamber in Perth with us, the whole crowd was Tiffy time, right? Yeah. We loved Tiffy time. And then she had no match at WrestleMania. And then she sat behind Nia, and she was just part of Nia's thing, and then she won Money in the Bank, and she cashed in and she won. Roxanne was the same. Roxanne came out, had a banger spot in the Royal Rumble. She got into the Elimination Chamber, put on a really good show in Elimination Chamber, wasn't at WrestleMania. Everyone's like, why is Roxanne not getting a match? This is a bit of a waste. Then she got back into the main story. She got into the Judgment Day, and now I think she can win Queen of the Ring and then get a match at SummerSlam. I think that it's the same trajectory we booked, or Triple H booked for Tiffy, is what he's going to book for Roxy, because it worked last time. I can see it working again.
Yeah. It's very quickly just turning into a King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring podcast. So let's move on. We did talk about Nikki Bella very briefly in that last 20 minutes that we've been talking. So let's talk about her appearing on Monday Night Raw in her hometown of Phoenix, Arizona. And then getting interrupted by a pretty angry Liv Morgan, calling Nikki Bella out for not including her in a list of amazing women's talent in the build-up to Evolution 2.
What did she call Stephanie Vaquer?
Stephanie Vaquer.
Vaquer.
She addressed it on her podcast with Brie as well.
Did she?
Yeah.
She was like...
I think she would... The way that she went about it, because she wasn't sure how to pronounce it properly and was like stressing herself out about it.
Just walked back. Hey, how do I say your name?
She did.
Vaquer?
She apparently did go talk to Stephanie directly and still stuffed it up. That's Nikki Bella for you. Anyway.
That's the Divas division, mate.
That came into play. Liv Morgan would essentially say, you're... What, like... I can't think of the word. Has-been. You're a has-been.
Yeah.
You're a relic. All you'll ever be is a social media... Fuck, what's a
reality TV.
That's the one.
Star.
Reality TV.
Diva.
Yeah. And that's where Nikki Bella starts to come back in the ring.
Gets hit by an Oblivion, thank God, because Liv's way better than Nikki ever was.
Yes. And then let's talk about what we stumbled upon.
We'll get there in 2 seconds.
Ago.
We'll get there in 2 seconds. I think a lot of the other backlash from this segment, and look, I'm not against Nikki Bella, right? I think that the Bellas they are Hall of Famers. They absolutely did a lot for women's wrestling, despite not being as technical in the ring as what the women are now. But I don't think that's their fault, right? 10 years ago, you would say, who was one of the best male wrestlers 10 years ago?
John Cena. Brock Lesnar.
Sure, right? Are they as technical or as good in the ring now as Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Seth Rollins, etc.? No, they're not. Wrestling evolves.
Yes.
And I think what the Divas were 10 to 15 years ago is not the same thing that the women's division is now.
No.
You could not put Rhea Ripley in that Divas division with Michelle McCool and Layla and Kelly, because it just would not work, right? Just not the same. So when there's a lot of backlash online now for people saying where Nikki Bella was meeting Io backstage and Io's like, thank you for paving the way for us. And everyone's like, Nikki Bella cannot lace up Io's boots. She's got nothing to thank her for. What the fuck are you doing? That is not...
Read into what she said, paving the way.
Yeah.
Laying down the bricks and developing that road for that women's division that they're currently on.
And just...
It stemmed from that.
Getting women's wrestling on TV. Back 15, 20 years ago, it was, pillow fights and bra and panties matches and jelly wrestling. And it was not taken seriously. And I'm not saying that the Bellas then all of a sudden were putting on 5-star matches and stuff and hitting, rolling submission moves. But they made people take women and their storylines and their championships seriously. And that then led to your 4 horsewomen, which leads to your Sasha, which leads to your Charlotte, which leads to your Becky, which now leads to what we've got today. So, yes, they paved the way.
Yes.
So all the men just get off your soapboxes. Okay. Yes, Nikki. If you put 1-on-1, bell to bell, Nikki Bella and Io Sky, of course Io's going to win. We all know that, but you have to give Nikki and the Divas their props that they got it to where it is now.
Yes, correct.
But please, for God's sake, don't let Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley beat Liv and Raquel for the tag titles in Evolution. Oh my God, why did we even think of that?
Why did we even think about that? No, it now makes too much sense because we were talking offline about who. Because it obviously sets up the tag title match at Evolution too.
Well, the fact that Liv specifically said, this is my division.
Yeah.
And what division I'm still a champion, this is my division. Which I was telling you that we need the Kabuki Warriors, we need something, because there is no other women's tag teams around.
But there's the Dungeon Dolls incoming with Natalie and Maxine.
You mean Natalia?
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Natty anyway.
Great. That's a great tag team. But then the logic is, if Liv is picking on Nikki and then she's going to set out a tag title match, it's the Bella Twins.
Yeah.
It's Nikki and Brie.
Or, as I saw online, what if it's Nikki and AJ Lee?
It's not AJ Lee.
You never know.
It's not AJ Lee. If AJ Lee is coming back, I think she would have had a spot in the Rumble by now. But yeah, that's fine. If she is coming back, I guarantee her to do something with Roxanne. The history
doesn't have to, though.
Doesn't have to, but the history she has, obviously AJ being Punk's wife.
Yeah, but
and the fact that, you've got...
It's social media history. It's not WWE history. So it's near irrelevant.
Yeah, but they love going into that social media stuff now.
Yeah, but...
Like, the whole time through Punk, with him coming back and going to NXT, it was all with Roxanne and Cora, were his 2 little daughters that he was there with, and all they ever started wrestling was because of AJ Lee. You obviously don't have Cora anymore because she's off doing OnlyFans with Mandy Rose. But you've now got Roxanne there. Mm. And, Roxanne and AJ would be a really fun match. And I think that bringing AJ back to tag with Nikki...
They've got so much history as well, though.
Yeah,
like a legitimate history. But sometimes the best enemies make the best team.
Pretty funny if it was CM Punk's wife tagging with John Cena's ex.
But yeah, how did we stumble across Nikki and Rhea teaming? God, please don't.
Rhea took out Raquel.
Don't do it.
And now,
well, he's going to take out Raquel.
Well, we assume yes.
Yes. Don't do it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some other stuff because we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Do we?
As well. Yes.
Okay.
Gunther dethroning Jey Uso in the
this happened.
main event. Yeah, that happened. We expected to cash in, got nothing. Got a very drawn out ending with a lot of sleepers and lots of reversals of sleepers and then getting out of the sleeper and back into the sleeper. And I feel like falling asleep talking about this many sleepers.
I was over the Gunther and Jey matches. I love Jey. I love his entrance.
This was probably one of their better ones.
It was definitely one of their better ones. But I think we've said this for a while, is that Jey has been getting better. But in the ring, he bores me. I don't care. Yeah. Super kick, Samoa drop, super kick, splash, done, right? Whatever. I remember back last year, or was it the year before, when Gunther was putting on 5-star matches to close out Raw against Chad Gable. Those were some of the best title defense matches you would see on a main event of Raw in ages. And then some of the matches he did with Breaker and some of the matches he did with Sammy, superb wrestling. Yeah. This, not on that level.
No.
And I don't think that's... I think that's partially because just Jey doesn't quite have it the same way others do in the ring. But also, we're kind of done, right? It's been a long time of Sammy and Jay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay and Gunther, one way or the other.
And this is why I'm so not on board with your theory about Jay.
Yeah, but I think
through
WWE
and
is just
King
going to
of the
keep
Ring.
jamming you down our throat, man. Like,
Yeah, I know, but like, I'm done with this. Like, Gunther,
Oh, absolutely.
he's got him. That needs to be it. I'm done.
It's not.
I'm
mate.
done.
We know it's not.
I'm done.
But like Jay's music hits and the entire crowd yeets.
Yeah, I know.
They're going to push it because how many t-shirts does he sell?
I know.
4 letters.
One
word.
Lost.
Yeet.
He lost.
Brutal.
But yeah, let's talk about what you think this means potentially.
So what this means potentially.
Gunther is now World Heavyweight Champion.
Correct. There is a very strong rumor on the internet, and it may already have been released by the time you watch this video, is that
never know.
somebody by the name of Goldberg is returning to Raw this week.
Goldberg.
We've already laid the seeds of a Gunther versus Goldberg feud, obviously, when Gunther said that Bret Hart was his favourite wrestler, and then when he confronted Bret Hart and said, I was lying, it's not you, it was actually Goldberg.
Yeah.
So you've got this history now between the two. I think even before that started, if you had have said to us a year or two ago, who would you want Goldberg, if he's coming back, who do you want Goldberg to have a match with?
Gunther.
It was Bron Breakker or it was Gunther. That was it. That's all I really wanted to see.
Yep.
So Gunther makes total sense. If he's coming back, if you've got in a couple of weeks' time, you've got Saturday night's main event, which we talked about on our last week's podcast.
Yep.
It's a whole weekend of wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia, which is also where Goldberg went to uni and did his NFL, and that's where Goldberg is from. He's from Atlanta. That makes a lot of sense. And then you also think that, hang on, that Saturday night's main event, and that Saturday is the same day that AEW is doing All in Texas.
How do you want to try and take eyes off that?
You put Goldberg versus Gunther for the heavyweight title.
In Goldberg's final ever match.
It sells itself, right?
It really does. That's going to be a tough pick. But I think it's going to be AEW.
That's all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in, and then we avoid spoilers for a couple of hours and watch them back to back.
Oh, fuck, that's going to be a big day. Holy shit. Holy shit.
But I think that's what's happening. I think you'll see Goldberg come back, say that he wants one last match, and then that'll be the match that they pick. And then, like I said, you have the King of the Ring tournament go separately, and then Sammy gets through on that. And then Sammy Gunther at SummerSlam. You get Sammy to finally win his world title. Seth Rollins cashes in.
Love it. Book it. WrestleMania tickets. You know the drill, Triple H.
Yeah.
Slide
And
in the
look, it's in
DMs,
Vegas again. You've probably got deals from last year. You
Yeah.
can just
Vegas 2, Electric Boogaloo. I'm never going to let that go. Anytime something happens for the second time, boom. You just
Electric
tack
Boogaloo.
2 Electric Boogaloo on the end of it. Boom. Done. Comedy gold.
Too fast, too Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, I actually don't mind that one. That's pretty good. You mentioned AEW, so let's kind of pivot and talk about that and then come back to WWE stuff. They unveiled a new championship because we have confirmed for AEW All in Texas Kenny Omega as the international champion and Kazuchika Okada as the continental champion. Winner takes all.
Yes.
And they will be receiving the AEW Unified Championship.
And the belt.
We'll put it there.
It's not this one.
No, not this one. It looks pretty good, but I'm not vibing with that name.
I don't like the name for it. I think that they've made the title belt look more like the AEW title, despite the fact that I've not seen that title for 12
Well,
months
have you
because
heard the
of John
rumor?
Moxley.
Well, the fan theories going around about what's going to happen.
What?
When Hangman beats Mox at All In Texas.
Well, what if he doesn't?
Well, if he does, he's going to go for the briefcase.
It's empty.
He's going to open it, and the championship's just going to be in pieces. So they're going to unveil a new AEW championship.
Another title belt.
Well, it's the same belt, just like new design.
But
That's the fan theories I'm seeing. And that sounds amazing to me. Because it's kind of a bit of a contrary thought. Like, if someone finally dethrones John Moxley, you want them there, standing there with the belt that people haven't seen on TV for what feels like nearly a year now.
Yeah.
But if that happens at the end of the pay-per-view, and he's just there holding the pieces of the AEW championship.
It's just not the same feeling.
It's not the same feeling.
But then
it's a good theory, but now that I think about it, like, you want him to be holding that title high above his head.
And then the other theory, I guess, to that would be if it is a broken championship, I could see Tony Khan booking himself to walk out from the with a new title and hand it to Paige.
Just to get himself on TV.
But then you'd be like, but how did you know you needed a new title because you hadn't seen the belt that was in the briefcase? That story doesn't make sense either.
But then you
let's just get him to pull
yourself into a corner.
He just pulls it out of the briefcase and he holds it up.
Unified title with a picture of the Rainmaker on one side.
Oh, I didn't see that.
There's two side plates, one on each side. One has the One-Winged Angel.
And one
Kenny
with the
doing
Rainmaker.
And I think the other one's doing the Rainmaker. So
look, sick match.
Lovely little homages there.
I think the title is good. The fact that they're trying to book it so that this is essentially now going to be their second world title. So we've said for a while, there's way too many mid-card belts and mid-card feuds. I think that this is good, but I don't know
the TNT title.
I don't know if AEW have the depth and quality on Collision to have this unified title be a Collision title and your AEW championship being your Dynamite championship. Because I think Raw and SmackDown are so, I mean, yes, brand split, LOL. But in general, right, there is enough quality on each show separate
to hold both titles.
You have two lots of world champions and it makes sense. I think AEW has enough people to do that with. They have enough talented staff on their roster. But I feel like 80% of it is all on Dynamite. And the Collision side of it is, Adam Cole and friends. And what's Danny Garcia doing this week? Collision's just not the same show as what Dynamite is. So if you're trying to set it as two different world titles, you need to move people from... You can't have Swerve, Hangman, Moxley, Ospreay, Okada, Takeshita, Kenny Omega, all on Dynamite.
No, you gotta split them up.
And
I think they do need to do some sort of brand split. They don't have to have it be a brand split.
Yeah.
Per se. Do a WWE style brand split where it's
well, they also need to not do
split.
4-hour shows because struggle to try and watch the last couple of weeks of AW. But also you can see a very clear, if you watched the Fighter Fest and the whatever one before, and then I think next week it's 3 hours for Grand Slam Mexico. But you watch the Dynamite part of it and you're like, geez, that was really good. And then Adam Cole's music hits and the whatever they're called, the Paradigm or whatever. Paragon. They start and then you get...
The show just goes boom.
But then you get the Beast Mortos and you get Roosh and things like that.
You see him thigh slap a spear.
Yeah. It's cool, but you could see that it goes like that as soon as that shows. Whereas I would say over the last 12 months, you could argue that Raw was the top show or that SmackDown was the top show, depending on what you liked. Whereas I think everyone's pretty clear that it's Dynamite and then it's Collision with Tony Storm on it and nothing else.
Yeah, stop putting Tony Storm on Collision. I'd like to see more of her when I actually watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say you need to watch Collision then.
I need to start watching it in the lead up to All In.
Yes.
Because after leave, going on holiday and stuff, I was just nah, nothing.
It's too much.
I need to dive back in.
But we know All In is going to be a big show. They do it all the time. They're setting up some really big matches. The fact that you've already got Hangman and Mox, you've got Tony Storm against Mercedes, and you've now got a confirmed Okada and
3
Kenny.
matches, and that already looks like a banger card. Watch them tack 8 more onto that.
You don't have Ospreay in anything just yet. You might run back Ospreay and Swerve because they had a really good draw this week.
Oh, they drew. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you that part.
No,
yeah.
I didn't know that they drew in their match.
So this is something I really want to give credit to AEW for them actually booking something smartly. Old mate Dave Meltzer gave this 5.25 stars, so go back and watch it because it was a very, very good match between the two of them. But as expected, right, an Ospreay and Swerve match should be really good.
And that's why I haven't heard many people talking about it because everyone's been talking about the Death Riders stuff that happened.
Because the match itself went 20-minute time limit draw.
Oh, it was only 20?
Yeah, well, it's not a time match. It's a 20-minute match.
Yeah, right.
Time limit draw. And so then the thing that annoyed me with this, and I think I've seen the What Culture guys and stuff talking about too, was that, normally when they have the tournament matches with time limits, they're 5 minutes to go, 2 minutes. It was just 1 minute to go. And you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, we're already there, are
Shit.
we? But I guess the problem with that, them announcing the time left, as soon as they did it, I was like, oh, it's a draw. That's why they're telling us there's 1 minute left. But then what happened was that they got the draw and then Ospreay and they were like, look, we don't want to do it like this. We want to see there's a winner 5 more minutes. We do 5 more minutes. And they're like, fine, let's do 5 more minutes. And everyone's like, yes, here we go.
And that's when the Young Bucks came out.
And then the Young Bucks came out and ruined it.
I knew they came out and brought out the thumbtack shoes.
Correct. Because what AEW did smartly, was all of the heat that you, like, instantly that match finishes and you're like, oh, this sucks. Boo, there's no winner. I'm so angry. Someone else. You throw it straight on the Young Bucks for doing it.
Not that they even need it these days, but of course they're going to get it.
But that was well booked. Very smart.
That's probably it on the AEW front that you wanted to talk about, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So let's talk about AEW talent being on the Gladiators TV show.
Oh, yeah, this was
and
interesting.
Some online talkings about it. I don't really know how to further explain it.
So,
other than talking. So The Miz is going to be the host of Gladiators.
So this is the American remake.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
And it's like season 2 or the second remake of it. The UK one supposedly has come out last year or this year. Super successful over there. Okay. It's gone really well. So then everyone's like, jump on board.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Australian one in the 90s.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember Vulcan?
Yeah, dude. I remember watching that shit
and
all the time.
And climbing up the pyramid to try and get to the top. Gladiators was sick. The only reason that I sent you the picture of all this and stuff was that front bang and center
Wardlow. Behind him, Camille.
Yeah.
And Rick Boogs as well.
Yeah, really interesting. A couple of ex-wrestlers.
The reason why I said there was interesting talkings online was because a couple posts that I saw was that and I didn't believe the post to start with because it was extremely vague, because it was like somebody backstage in one of the companies is unhappy about talent working together on this show. And they didn't specify which talent it was. So I was just like, because I went through the comments and it was like people going, oh, his last name is Khan, but it's not Tony. Like saying Nick Khan's going to have a problem with Miz working with Wardlow and Camille. Why?
I don't think WWE gives two
But like,
shits.
even then, I don't think that Tony Khan would care much about Wardlow and Camille working with The Miz. Like,
no?
Who cares? It's a TV show. It's not professional wrestling. Like, what's going to happen?
Well, I mean...
He's not using Camille anyway, so...
Naomi and Tony Storm were in that Queen of the Ring movie together.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch and MJF were in Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah. Who cares, bro?
Yeah.
It's TV. It's movies.
I think
Who cares?
You might have got, worked, brother. Just like you did with
that's why
Otis at his cakes and LA
bro,
Knight's
that
wedding.
was the realest fucking fake Instagram story I've seen in my life.
Oh, go back and find that from a couple episodes ago. That was so funny. We got so mad that Otis couldn't get his cakes backstage.
Well, it was more so about the fact that they were essentially hate-mongering because the women were getting charged more for snacks.
Oh, we got done so badly. So funny.
Well, at least it made for a funny clip. So yeah, piss on that. I don't give a shit about what anyone says.
No, but I'll watch Gladiators.
I'll watch Gladiators, but no one gives a shit about people from two different companies working together.
No. I think everyone's more mature than that for sure.
Yeah. You wanted to talk about Worlds Collide ratings, which I have not spoiled.
Yep. I can't remember what they all are.
So I'm passing over to you because you're the one that wanted to talk about
the only thing I remember that the ratings was like the women's match, the tag match was like 2 stars from Dave. Wasn't a great one.
I don't necessarily
the two 6-man tag matches I think were like 4 stars, give or take.
Yeah, they were pretty damn entertaining. I think the Legado del Fantasma one was less so.
Yeah. The 4-way with Ethan Page retaining was 4.25.
Nice. That was a really good match.
And then
did he give the main event?
The main event, Vikingo and Chad Gable.
4 3/4.
4 3/4 stars. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, Dave.
Shit.
But I guess coming out of that, the thing to talk about is everyone's favorite,
Mr Iguana.
Mr Iguana.
We're gonna get one, and we're gonna put it on set.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. It's gonna be Iguana here.
Santi's already got one. He's already got one sitting on his shoulder in some of his.
Of course he
streams.
does. God damn it, Santi. But he was obviously on NXT. He was backstage with a shoot with Lola Vice.
Okay.
Saw him around with that sort of stuff. He was on a podcast throughout the week and was essentially saying that everything's going really well. He's going to go straight to the main roster.
Yeah, they want me on the main roster.
He's going to skip the performance center NXT. They want me there because I'm selling so much merch and I'm going to be so good. And supposedly there's a whole lot of backlash from everyone else being like, shut the fuck up, mate.
I've not heard about this. I mean, I did think like those comments were kind of like
a bit ahead of himself.
Yeah, a bit too soon.
My issue with this is that where you put him.
Yeah.
Like
he could have been that mystery contender in the match.
But like he doesn't fit. Like you're gonna tell me a match with Sheamus, Rusev, somebody else, and Mr. Iguana? No, it's not gonna happen.
Bronson Reed.
There's no like Santino spot right now where they've got that comedy feud and like
And that's where
R-Truth
he needs to slot
obviously
in if he comes up.
is not being R-Truth and always being Ron Killings. So you've got which we didn't talk about too. You've got nowhere to really fit him in. He can put on some good matches. You can give him matches with like Dom and Penta and whatnot, and he'll be good in the ring. But I don't see his character working. I can see his character in NXT working.
Yeah.
Just the main roster.
There are a lot of characters that they do in NXT that I feel don't translate well to the main roster.
Yes.
Tony D'Angelo being one of them. I don't see him.
Same Chase U. Chase U would not work on the main roster.
No. And it's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Because people are trying to make it like it's the third brand.
But I also feel like people can, can suspend their disbelief a bit more with NXT than they do with the main roster.
Yes.
When you do some weird and stupid things down there, you're like, yeah, it's fine. It's NXT.
Yeah, exactly. Let's pivot away from that because we've still got a few more things to touch on before we talk about R-Truth. You wanted to discuss Blake Monroe.
Yes. So last week we talked about Mariah May and making her debut, and they named her, and I said they were going to call her Mariah Monroe. I was halfway there.
It was half right.
I was pretty close.
But I'll let her have this one because the Blake part is named after her niece.
Correct.
Very acceptable.
Do you think WWE fact-checked this name, though?
Oh, is this what you wanted to bring up? Because I did see a post about this during the week. Blake Monroe is actually the name of a mattress actress.
Correct. Fairly well-renowned
How quickly do you reckon they change that? Do they change it?
I don't know. They put a lot of effort into it already, and that she's already on the shop. And
have you seen like that?
The bathwater?
Well, I was going to mention that, but yes, the bathwater. She's already requested to do it. I don't know. I'm seeing conflicting posts about it because it's people mentioning that she wants to just sell bathwater, or she wants to do a bathwater soap like what Sasquatch is doing with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, I thought it was like a bath bomb.
That's what I thought. But then not people are saying actual bath water.
No, that'd be stupid. I think it'd be
that's like top tier cringe shit. Whereas soap, it's more family friendly.
Yeah, the bath water is what you leave for Mandy Rose to sell on her OnlyFans.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think they'll change the name. I think that
I don't think they can. All the vignettes that they're doing, the nice like comic style promos that they're doing, which very closely modeled after Sabrina Carpenter's stuff.
Yes, and very bewitchy and that sort of stuff. Yeah. I think it's great. I just think it's quite funny.
Kind of funny
that they maybe didn't fact check the name. Like you just Google. It's like that clip that goes around the internet where someone's just talking with Paige and like, oh, you know, all these people you can Google and like Paige, and she's like,
don't do that.
Don't actually Google me.
Don't do that.
It's a bad idea.
What else have we got? Hikuleo.
Yes.
Finally makes his main event debut.
Well, I mean,
that's what he debuted on.
You say main event, and it's directly actually main event.
It's actually the show main event. Because during the week, I saw a lot of reports that he was making his debut on SmackDown.
Well,
kind of technically happened,
on
but
the
not.
SmackDown
on the SmackDown tapings, exactly. And the fact that he was going to be involved in Bloodline stuff, which was incorrect because he was just in a match. I don't even know who he faced because people were just like, yeah, Hikuleo's finally here. It's been 12 months since he's been signed. 12 months.
I'm pretty sure that he is going into the Bloodline story. I think that.
Well, did you see the video?
Which video?
Of him coming out for main event.
Yeah, and then walking over the top rope.
No, did you see what he was wearing?
What, the Tama Tonga gear? Yeah.
He's absolutely going with Solo whenever.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. 100%. Because Solo now needs to, like, he's lost Jacob, and then Jacob's, going to keep it 100,
Keep it 100.
And,
you know what I mean?
I think that that's your SummerSlam match is going to be Solo and Jacob.
Yeah.
And maybe... No, I think Jacob
when
needs
are GOD coming back?
When they're fit.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Because then Solo will have... Because I could almost see Jacob turning JC and getting JC to go with him.
Yeah.
And then Solo gets the Tongans and Hikuleo. And then you kind of split them off and then away they go. Thumbs up from Reece?
Thumbs up.
That's gold.
I have nothing constructive to put into that.
Yeah.
So, yes. Agree.
Good.
Sounds good. Omos has been re-signed to WWE, and you and probably a lot of other people online have a problem with it.
I have a problem with it that we're happily spending money on a 7'3" guy that you're not putting on television, but you're going to release Carlito and Sarah Logan and R-Truth and Dakota Kai and everybody else because, you don't have anything for them. But you've got a guy that you're like literally
He's a
signing.
special attraction, man.
To do what?
Stand there and be like, look at me, I'm tall.
He's big.
That's it. That's it. That's all those big people ever have been. Braun was in that category, but he was a bit of an outlier because he was so agile.
Yeah.
Let me get to the point, bro. But yeah, with Omos, it's just like he's just there to be the giant, and that's.
But they're not even I think
that's the problem. They're not using it
these days. Maybe WWE, doesn't have a giant, and they've kind of moved away from the early Vince McMahon days. There was
you always had to have a giant.
Kane, Undertaker, Big Show, Khali, Mason Ryan. All these other dudes that were like 7
Mason Ryan, what a fucking throwback that is.
Yeah, but like they're all massive 7 foot tall giants. Test, Albert, etc. Like all of them were huge. And so then when small guys like Rey Mysterio, Eddie, and Jericho and that came in, you're like, oh my god, look at the size difference. Whereas now, like Randy Orton looks ginormous. And
hey, big boy now, dude.
But he's 6'4", 6'5", if that.
No, I think he's like 6'6". Up there.
I don't know.
Because Drew McIntyre's up there as well.
Yeah. But like those two are the bigger ones. And then like Hikuleo now is over 6'6" when he comes in. And Omos towers over all of them. And so they don't have a giant. So fine, I'm happy to have him on the roster, but you've got to use him as the giant.
That was the thing. He won the Noah Trios tag title or the tag titles.
Yep.
And then
dropped him through.
Had to drop him because they wanted him back in WWE, but then they haven't done anything with him since he dropped the titles.
Yep.
Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. It just doesn't. One last thing before we touch on R-Truth.
Yep.
That's probably the least exciting thing for all the viewers watching at home. But Brock Lesnar's daughter has won.
We're actually talking about this. How good? So good.
The NCAA shot put championship from her first throw. 19 meters, you said?
19.1 or 19.01 meters.
Huge, dude. That, like, when you think about that, you think back to your school days and doing the beep test and how long of a distance that felt.
I remember doing
She just yeeted a, 5 kilo ball. Yep. 20 meters.
I did shot put in school and like little athletics, and I'm pretty sure I was doing like 11 or 12 meters in like high school, and I was like, yeah, look at me go. Like
she just like casually throws 19 meters. Boom, done.
Wild.
Did she break a world record? World
chicken buggers again. I don't know if she's breaking a world record, but she's probably got every state.
The fact that like no one could back it up after the first throw and beat her.
But like, funny. If you haven't seen Maya Lesnar, picture Brock Lesnar,
trim her down slightly, boom, done.
It's
shave the beard.
Yeah, shave the beard, and it's Brock Lesnar. Like
it's crazy.
The apple did not fall far from the tree in this one, and she is jacked. And look, if she ever goes into wrestling, which I don't think she will, I reckon Brock will keep her away from it.
Never know.
I mean, if she's successful enough in athletics to do things that can go to the Olympics or whatever, just do that. But like, if she ever does go into wrestling and stuff, mate, instant.
Watch out.
She could be the first ever Paul Heyman girl.
Yeah. Well, first official on screen Paul Heyman girl. Because they do have Paul Heyman girls, but it's not quite what you think. We'll just leave it at that.
That's not what I was getting at, but okay.
R-Truth, to cap off the show, comes out on Monday Night Raw, cuts an amazing promo about how the fans brought R-Truth back. You did it. We did it. Mm-hmm. I'm back. Mm-hmm. But now someone else is driving the wheel. And he just cuts his dreads off on live television. And the whole crowd's just like, holy shit chance for someone cutting their hair off. First time ever in WWE.
Wasn't it?
No, I reckon.
Yeah?
Like, think back to all those
hair versus hair matches. What about when Vince got his head
I don't think anyone was chanting holy shit. I think everyone was just cheering. And that's the thing with those hair versus hair matches. People usually chant for it or they're like really sad about it.
Yeah, this is so unexpected.
Yeah, it's so unexpected and it just like completely shocked the entire audience.
I'm very intrigued by where this goes.
Yes.
Because we all wanted truth. And we want the truth. We couldn't handle the truth. And now Triple H has given us the truth, even though we know he didn't actually give us the truth. It was Nick Khan, and there's the whole, it's all part of the story, but it's not. We all know that, right? What I'm skeptical of is the reason that the crowd wanted truth and why we all loved our truth is because he was hilarious. He was such a fun comic character. He tied storylines and stuff together. He made you laugh. He made you feel emotions. And then when he did jump into the ring, whether it was, for the 24/7 title or for the tag things with The Miz or any stuff with the Judgment Day or that match with Cena at Saturday Night's Main Event, we all cheered truth because we love truth and we wanted our truth to, succeed. Now that we're not getting truth, we're getting Ron the Truth Killings. It's a different side and a different aspect of that. The fact that he's saying, you all thought I was just a gimmick, but now I'm not. Like, I'm more than that. Are they going to play on a kind of like a split personality type thing where, like you said, that it's now Ron Killings in control of truth? Yeah. It's not the same thing. And if that's the case, cool. This could be a good storyline. But is the crowd going to care as much about Ron Killings as they did about our truth?
Yeah, and I think the longevity of it all is what's concerning at the moment, because this angle with Ron Killings and John Cena, how long is that going to last? Is that going to last until John Cena goes, and then maybe because that cloud is no longer over Ron Killings' head, our truth comes back?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think that whatever contract he signed is more than 12 months. I think that realistically, Nick Khan and that have called Ron and said, look, mate, we didn't realize the backlash this was going to get from the crowd and from the WWE universe. We didn't give you a fair send-off. Let's talk about how we can do that. And I think the genius business side of it was that Truth said, sure, but I'm coming back as Ron Killings so that I own the name. So you can put all your merch and stuff out and everyone's going to start talking about Ron Killings so that when he does leave, he does his indie shows or he does his WrestleCon things and he does his signings and he creates his OnlyFans. It's all under Ron Killings, and so that name has been already out there.
Yeah.
So I think that's very smart from his perspective. But I think realistically, from a fan perspective, this is now the final run of R-Truth Ron Killings. And this is, instead of him being pushed out the door like Carlito was, and it's just like he's one day playing fucking PlayStation with Dom and eating apples, and the next he's gone.
Yeah.
This is all right, sorry, we're going to give you your farewell.
Let's do one.
Have your farewell of your character, but I don't see it go more than 6 months to a year.
Yeah,
I reckon by WrestleMania next year, R-Truth is gone, but gone on his own terms and has a farewell and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how his character goes, and like you said, outside of Ron feuding with Cena, what do you want to see?
That's the big question.
Like
I don't know if I want to,
because Truth with the Judgment Day was hilarious.
Yeah,
because he was in the Judgment Day, but he wasn't in the Judgment Day. And he was selling their fake T-shirts. He was making them all the money, and that was funny.
Yeah,
what's Ron Killings gonna do with Dominic Mysterio? Like, is that what you want to see? That he gets angry at Dom for eating too many chicken nuggets and not taking things seriously, and then he wants to have a match with Ron Killings? Is that the same thing? I don't know if it is. And that's...
If you've got any ideas, let us know in the comments on how you want Ron Cena to continue his character arc on TV.
Or do you...
After John Cena's gone.
Not want to see him?
You don't want to see him. I think Ron Killings potentially maybe just a temporary thing while he's dealing with this Cena stuff. And then once that's done and dusted, we can get R-Truth back for a little bit. Have a happy send-off.
Yeah, but then...
I don't know what to do with Ron Killings other than what he's doing with John Cena right now.
Your problem is that's the same thing you're doing with John Cena, right? You've got heel John Cena now that you've got for X amount of time, and then you want him to be done so we can get fun John Cena back for his farewell.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you want the same thing with Ron Killings, to have his heel bit or his serious part, and then you want to get rid of that to have R-Truth back for his final run?
To be fair, I never asked for this serious part to begin with. And I don't think a lot of people...
We all just wanted R-Truth back, right?
We just wanted R-Truth back. It's going to be interesting to see how this plans out for the next... Who knows how long, to be honest.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to head on down to the links scrolling below in the video, Twitter. That's hashtags.
That's the hashtag. That's the TikTok.
Yeah, I always point at the wrong side. because I'm watching the screen and I'm pointing to the side of the screen where it is. Come join us on all our social media pages. Come join us in our Discord as well. We had a very interesting prospect for a game show come up. Top 10, I'm going to call it a top 10 animal-related wrestlers. So we're going to try and bang that out at some point. I think we just do that draft style. We pick 5 each. And that way we get a top 10.
Okay.
And then we have some honourable, and I've got an inkling of a potential dishonourable mention. So bring that up. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. Stay tuned next week for another episode of Down Under the Mat, talking about all things professional wrestling. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Down Under the Mat. Too sweet!